like if you're picking the 104 might be fine, but 105, 106, 107, this pick, just like your team, is ridiculously average and horrible. When Mel Kiper's emerged and he's feeling himself on national television, now's the time to move some of these guys and try to get value wins, whether that's yeah, right. Welcome back to the desk.
Welcome back.
So what do we got on the docket today?
We had a previous video where we looked at sticking and picking in the first round of the 2026 draft and what we would do at each position, before the actual landing spots have been found. Today, we're going to talk about selling each of those picks and who we would target based on whether we were on a contending team or a rebuilding team. I mean, the key for market plays is understanding when certain players' value is going to be high, and April is max hype for your rookie picks. So you can trade those picks now, extract some value, and then roll into the season. And if you want to buy the rookies back later, a lot of them dip in price in season. So you might be able to make some quick market moves. Anyway, we'll talk through the moves that we'd make with each of the picks, starting off with the 101. If you had the 101 and you were a contender, I think it's reasonable to pick Jeremiah Love. But let's say you're stacked at running back or your league settings, don't favor running back that much. Who would you be going for?
Or he goes to like the Jets or Jets equivalent.
Or, well, yeah, and you could trade the pick now and avoid the situation where he ends up at Arizona or Tennessee. Who would you be going for?
I mean, I would look for, I think a perfect idea would be like a Justin Jefferson, a freaking athletic stud, number one wide receiver in the league a couple years ago, coming off of a horrible year. A team could be looking to move him, especially if it's a team that's looking more towards a rebuild. I look for a J-Jeff. I think you could also go younger proven or younger semi-proven, like a Hampton, and try to get something in additional, a Hampton plus type deal. And that would be fine with me too.
I like both of those ideas. I think doing the Hampton plus you could also do with Drake London. Be totally fine with that. And if the Jefferson owner's stubborn, I'd be okay with CD or Amon-Ra as pivot targets there as well. But yeah, I think that's the idea with the 101. You want to get a guy. Don't give this up for, AJ Brown and T. Higgins and Dak and, 2 second-round picks or something.
Go get a stud.
Keep it in the stud range.
Right. If nobody's willing to give you a stud, then take the stud and be done with it.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the 102, 103?
102, 103, I think, is where it gets a bit more fun. There are different paths depending on whether you are a contending team. You've come out of your rebuild and you're ready to go, versus if you have the 102 because it's time to tear it all down. I'll say if you've got the 102 and you're coming in to contend, I like trying to do a flip right now, 1-to-1 for Devon Achane.
Ooh, even in his situation now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the guy has played in the league for 3 years. He's barely missed any time. He's the same age as Gibbs and Bijan, and he's scored 17.5 points per game or more every single year he's been in the league. So if you're contending and you can buy that level of production for the 102, just lock it in. Totally happy with it.
Okay.
My similar 103 target would probably be Nico. I think you have to accept that you're going to get a value loss season over season now with Nico's career. He's at that age where he just can't go up in value anymore. But similar situation, you could get 17, 18 points per game rather than taking a rookie where who knows.
Okay. Okay. I would look more. I mean, I would be looking more like the Bucky range, like Bucky plus, or a Bucky and a T, or somebody, two guys who are very productive, still young enough to where I'm going to get a couple good years from them. Achan, I totally understand what you're saying with his production, but he scares me with his situation now. I think
Okay.
Bucky Irving's in
Yeah.
a much better situation than a Devon Achan. And I think T. Higgins, now you're taking the risk of a healthy Joe Burrow, but you get a Bengals offense that's clicking, and T. Higgins is basically a wide receiver one. So I could see something like that in that range. The other option is you try to do like a Marvin Harrison Jr. and something, or Brian Thomas and something. I think those guys are highly touted. To me, it's a little more of a flight risk I mean, that could be a dud, but if one of those guys sticks and you get a plus, a little extra sweetener with it, that could be a good landing spot too for you. I thought like the 103.
That's true. I mean, the 102 or 103 could also be a dud. So you're saying basically down tier to like a breakout guy, a
Mm-hmm.
hopeful breakout guy, get a
Hopeful
little plus
breakout.
on top.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's not a bad strategy because a lot of times receivers do take 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
to really break out. You get the occasional Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, but frankly, we don't think the guys at the 102, 103 this year are that caliber of talent
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Yep.
So it's probably going to be more than a season or at least half a season before they've really reached their full potential. Whereas you could see a Rome Odunze, a BTJ, an MHJ finally hitting their stride, and they've still
Mm-hmm.
got plenty of youth where you'd get the value in. Yeah,
Yep.
a little plus with any of those guys, and I don't mind the down tier. I
This
would say the
next
same
section to me,
as,
dude, this is like, if you're picking the 104 might be fine, but 105, 106, 107, this pick, just like your team, is ridiculously average and horrible. Like, you are just bad enough. And I think
yeah.
pick selection shows it. There's just, I mean, talk to me about wiggle room here, because I don't see much.
Yeah, I think this is a real prime range to move off the picks because I think there will be enough hype for your Fernando Mendoza, your Kenyon Sadiq, your Jordan Tyson, where you can still get legitimate assets, you can still get legitimate interest, but you're consolidating away from all the risk that these rookies just aren't all that great, or at least they don't start their
Mhm.
career all that great. Um, let's say you're at the high end of that range, 104, 105.
More
What
enticing.
kind of pivot targets are you thinking about there?
If I'm at the 104, to me, that means I still wasn't that great of a team last year. I'm thinking, maybe if I could find a way to squeeze a Lad or a Tet or an Mbuka, I know that might be the 104 and I might have to give a little something extra to get there, but
Yeah.
at least those guys could be a high upside breakout. Um, if I'm at the 106, 107 in that range of like, maybe I had an injury or maybe my team was like pretty close, I would be looking more towards like maybe a Barkley or a Kyron, or maybe even like an AJ Brown type
Okay.
situation, an older vet that
Yep.
could get me into a playoff spot and in the hunt. If I truly believe I was in like an injury or two away from being right there last year.
I like that idea even on rebuilders right now, transitioning from that 106 or 107 to McCaffrey, Barkley, AJ Brown, Kyron, that whole group of players,
Mm,
simply because right this second, everybody cares about their insulation, their future value.
mhm.
The second August hits, people are going to be like, where am I going to score points?
Yeah.
You know? And people will start to say, man, AJ Brown puts up like 16 points a game. Saquon Barkley is, he's going to be a second round startup pick in my redraft leagues. Maybe I will go get some of these guys that are a little bit older. So I actually think you're going to get a little bit of a market value win if you make that kind of play, even on a rebuilding roster.
I do think it's a tough pick to be in, though. I mean, maybe not the 104, but in this year's draft, just and watch our early rookie assessment in one of our previous videos. But I think you're gonna have to start being creative in this range. I don't see this as being an easy spot to just do a clean 1-for-1. You might have to do some finagling here.
Yeah, you may. And I would say feel free to go up or down. You can tier down to other assets. I would not tier down into the late first round, though. I would not be trying to move my 106, 107 for like the 110 this year. Get a future 27 first, get a breakout candidate, pair it up and go get a stud. Anything like that is totally fine. But as much as the 104 to 107 range is scary this year, honestly, I think the 108 to 112 is the talent level of like a second round pick in normal drafts, like a mid-second, not even that 102, 103 or 201, 202 sort of range. And I think it will be harder to move those picks in general. The thing about those 106, 107 guys is somebody's going to get a good landing spot, right?
Yes.
Somebody will go to Kansas City. Somebody will go to San Francisco. Somebody will go to New England or Seattle or the Vikings. And you'll say, ha, I've got a guy. By the time you get to the 110, you're going to be having to draft somebody that's like, on the talent, and they went to the Jets.
Right.
On the talent, and they went to the Cardinals, right? So I would be willing right now, before that happens, to go ahead and make a lateral move for like Travis Hunter or Jaden Higgins. You can check out our breakout wide receiver videos if you're a rebuilder. And if you're a contender, lock in a bet. Lock in your Devontae Adams, your DJ Moore, your Michael Pittman, your Mike Evans, right? And just the Josh Jacobs. Love that if you can move your 109 for Josh Jacobs.
Oh, yeah.
Chef's kiss on a contender.
Absolutely. I mean, the moral of it, I know the whole point of this video is trading picks, but seriously, in the first round, in any round, but especially that first round when Mel Kiper's emerged and he's feeling himself on national television, now's the time to move some of these guys and try to get value wins, whether that's trading up, getting a stud, trading, like you said, for future round capital, but doing something that puts you in a position to maybe make a value win now, and then before the season starts, make another value win. And if you're a contender, don't be afraid to buy vets during this time. You can flip them. Or not a contender. If you're a rebuilder.
Yeah, even a rebuilder. You can still flip
afraid to
the
buy
vets.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think from the desk, folks, that's all for this one.
We'll see you next time.
Catch you in the next one.